Thanks for listening to talknorth.com, and thanks to our sponsor, Bite Squad, bitesquad.com, or on the Bite Squad app. Our special deal this weekend is celebrating the Gopher women's volleyball team making it to the NCAA tournament and celebrating their first-round games. Use promo code GophersVB. Obviously, it's in volleyball. GophersVB, all one word, starting on Thursday night, running through Sunday night. You will get 10% off of your order. It will work one time for anybody this weekend. Gophers VB at bitesquad.com or on the Bite Squad app. Thanks again to our listeners who participate in these Bite Squad specials, and thanks, of course, to Bite Squad, bitesquad.com. Food for your mood delivered.
What condition my condition was in.
Welcome back to Royce Smalley's Chin Music. This is our baseball show at talknorth.com. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. Please download before you listen. It's a better listening experience, better for us. And if you'd like to advertise with the program, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. Thanks to our current sponsors, Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com, and Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin, spelled Hoaglund. Let's get to CJ Cron. Last year they signed Logan Morrison after a huge power season. Doesn't work out that well, maybe because Morrison was kind of banged up. And now they go back to that well. They sign CJ Cron, who had a good power year last year and might fit into their plans pretty snugly. What do you think of this move?
I think it's a very low-risk move, and there's no guarantee that they're going to sign him for sure. They claim him on waivers. They have to sign him to
right.
I
misspoke as far as the mechanics of it. But I would guess they're going to sign him.
I would think that they'll sign him. I mean, I think it's a good move in that they are left-handed hitting heavy. One of the reasons that the trade with the Yankees last year was so interesting when they got the Tyler Austin was that he's got the potential to be that kind of guy and showed flashes of that. And they did that clearly because he's a guy that can play first base and be a right-handed bat, either as a platoon player or as a DH or something. CJ Cron, the same kind of guy. So it gives them some insurance. They need a right-handed power hitter. Is he Goldschmidt? No. Is he, any of those kinds of guys? I mean, no, he's not. But there's no guarantee that you have any ability to go out and sign a bigger, more established hitter as a free agent or make a trade for someone of that caliber with who you have in the system right now. So I think it's a very low-risk move, and it could be that CJ Cron just gets last year, unlike Morrison, last year was a springboard to something as good or better going forward. And even if it does, I mean, there's no equivalence between, okay, Morrison didn't work out, so let's never do that again. There just isn't. They're different players. They happen to be from the same team. The fact that Tampa Bay let both of them, didn't re-sign either one of them, means nothing. It's a guy that had an 800 on base plus slugging, hit a bunch of home runs, a bunch of doubles, and it's right-handed, and the Twins need all of the above. So it's really, it's a pretty good move.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting scenario it sets up is, for all this team's problems, we know that they are committed to finding out exactly what they have with most of these young positional players. So you have a team that struggled last year, but they don't really have many more moves to make as far as the everyday lineup unless they want to go bigger at first base or DH, which I don't know if they do. If this could mean Sano's your third baseman, Austin and Cron handle first base DH. Maybe you want another person who can play over there, but now you don't have to go hard in that direction if you don't want to. To me, tell me if I'm wrong, this sets up them to put some resources into second base.
That's just what I was going to say. I think that's a great point. I saw the DJ LeMahieu speculation. That's something that had not occurred to us, dude. And I think that's very interesting. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's the one spot that they could get demonstrably better, clearly better. So that's interesting, and he may not be the only option, but that's very interesting.
Yeah, and really, I guess I'm stumbling around. I guess the question I'm trying to get to is, if you're at this stage of what they view as their growth plan, do you go hard in free agency? The benefits being maybe Buxton and Sano turn it on, and if you sign the right free agent, second base, closer, whatever, then you're set up to win. And this is always the tough one. Do you do it to encourage the fan base to show up next year? And that's dicey. And you never know, because winning is really the only marketing that works in baseball. Nothing else brings people out. If you either win, but for a fan base that is jaded, that has been beaten up by a pretty bad decade, do you spend some money just to say, hey, we are trying here?
No, I don't think you spend it just for that, but I do think you spend an awful lot of money for the right kind of deal. And I don't mean a CJ Cron kind of deal. I mean a DJ LeMahieu kind of deal, a closer kind of deal. And I think the way I would look at it is, even with the closer, who almost by definition they're going to be older, 29, 30, 31 years old. If you believe that you can sign a closer for 4 years, he's going to be effective for 4 years, then I would break the bank and sign that closer. If you can get DJ LeMahieu, I would break the second bank and get DJ LeMahieu, because if you're convinced LeMahieu has at least 4 years, if not more. He's a fine player and young enough. I think a closer and a second baseman of that caliber, a right-handed hitter, a strong right-handed hitter. Now all of a sudden, what if Sano and Polanco and Buxton and Kepler come on, and you've just added a closer and another really good player at second base, and Rosario continues to progress the way he is. Now all of a sudden you can win the division. And if it doesn't happen that Sano and Buxton turn it on, I think that you have mitigated the damage with your fan base, because you are trying, not just in a symbolic way, in a real way. You've got two quality players for the next 4 years, and you'll have to figure out what to do, because Buxton and Sano didn't work, or Kepler didn't work, or whatever. But I don't spend money just to, a splashy deal just to make us. I would not do Yu Darvish at 35 years old.
Right.
Last year I would not do that. And I wouldn't do whoever that is this year. I would not do. But if you're convinced that you can get a guy that can close games, and you're going to have him for 4 years, regardless of what happens in 2019, I make that deal all day long. And I really like the LeMahieu idea.
There's some other interesting angles to get to here. We do want to thank Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com. Anything new with Steve Brem, your buddy who owns and runs Berry Coffee?
No, I was talking with Steve the other day, and he said, "Man, it's been a great experience with us," which was nice to hear. There's a lot of positive vibe that he's getting out of all of our listeners. So thanks to all of you who are. And congratulations for availing yourself of the great products and services that Berry Coffee brings. So it was good to hear that from Steve. And I keep teasing about the new roasting facility, but the roasters on land, the roasters here. They have to do some installation and some configuring. But we'll do a show from out there. It'll be really fun.
Cool. And where do they get did they have to import it?
Yep.
Where from, do we know?
Came on from Asia, came on a boat, went to Seattle, got trucked over here, and it's a big, beautiful monster, he says. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, and what they're able to do with their, they get arguably, I mean, they are able to buy the best beans that are in the world. They're buying beans ahead of Starbucks and Caribou. I mean, they're getting the best of the best, and then they are able to dial up different roasting recipes And they just set it's like the Wayback Machine, they just set the dials and out come these various blends in perfect roasting fashion. So really excited to get over there. And I love the Bull Run blend, but I need to replenish. I need another option for my coffee maker.
Thanks again to Steve. Check out all the products and services they provide at berrycoffee.com. Perfect for small businesses, big businesses, restaurants, bars, coffee shops. Obviously, they can sell you anything you need, and also they provide snacks, filtration systems, water, etc. Check it all out at berrycoffee.com, and thanks again to Steve. So way back when, I did not vote for Hideki Matsui. This is back when I was voting for awards. I've since stopped. I did not vote for Hideki Matsui to be Rookie of the Year. And I made the argument at the time that, hey, wonderful player, wonderful guy. His stats were deserving if you considered him a rookie. I just didn't consider him a rookie. I considered him a veteran free agent. I got myself in a lot of trouble. That's what we do in the sports writing world. This year, Ohtani ends up winning it. And I did have a couple people reach out to me and say, "Hey, you want to talk about this?" I'm like, "No, I've done enough damage." But as someone who played and who had teammates from other countries, do you agree with me, or was I wrong? Should you vote for a Japanese free agent who comes to America and has a good first year as a rookie, or would you consider him to be not a rookie?
I'm okay with them being considered a rookie. And the reason that I am is because the caliber of baseball there, although terrific, is not the big leagues. It's not the American big leagues. And so it's a huge adjustment, both from a talent standpoint and from a cultural change standpoint. And so guys from Cuba, guys from Japan, they are professional players, and they've played high level professional at a high professional level, but not quite American big leagues level. And I guess I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah, and one of my arguments was, most rookies, it doesn't have to work this way, but most rookies are probably about 22, 23, and they're just seeing a big city for the first time, maybe, or just playing with a second deck, on the stadium. And I just didn't consider Matsui to be exactly that. I'm not 100% sure I was right, but that's how I felt at the time. But I thought I'd ask your opinion on that. Did any of the other Major League Baseball awards that were released this winter intrigue you, surprise you, offend you?
No offense. I thought all of them deserving. The one that I thought was the most interesting was Snell winning the Cy Young Award over Kluber and Verlander, both of whom had phenomenal years. And Snell had more wins. Had the big war, and he had, he had all those wins. I don't know. I felt like the years that Kluber and Verlander had, from an ERA and strikeout and innings pitched. I mean, those guys were workhorses, and were the top innings pitched guys. Wins can sometimes, mean a lot or mean not as much. ERA can sometimes mean a lot or not as much. Strikeouts I don't care as much for, but if you have a lot of them, I think it helps. But I think the innings pitch and the ERA, is probably the two most important, and that's where those guys were the real horses. And I don't begrudge Snell when he had a marvelous year, and he's a terrific pitcher, and he might win another one or two before he's done. So good for him. I don't have any problem, but I thought that was an interesting kind of departure. I'm really glad for Syndergaard. Right? Not Syndergaard. I'm sorry.
Here, let me find the
list.
Other
DeGrom, Jacob DeGrom. Really glad for him. For the same reason. That just a ridiculous ERA.
1.70, the lowest in baseball among qualified starters, and the sixth lowest since MLB lowered the mound to its current height.
Right, and a bunch of innings pitched.
Yep.
And well, deserving. He was. I mean, if the Cy Young Award, like the MVP award, or like a Gold Glove award, is supposed to signify the best player at that position that year, then DeGrom was the best pitcher in the National League. I don't think there's any question about that. So it's good for the voters for recognizing what he did. It was different.